These pumpkin ricotta stuffed shells are my favorite fall comfort food. They're creamy, they're cheesy, they've got so much good fall flavor. And today I'm gonna show you how to make a gourmet version that is so perfect for the holidays. And we're gonna get started with our pumpkin ricotta filling. We're keeping things vegan today, so this is a tofu-based ricotta. It couldn't be simpler. You're gonna put everything in the food processor. You need 1 block of extra firm tofu. No need to press this, just pat it dry so it's not super wet. 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast. This will add some of that savory depth of flavor, a little bit of cheesiness that we're going for in a ricotta. A little bit of onion powder and garlic powder, salt and pepper to season. Some extra virgin olive oil to add a little bit of richness to our tofu ricotta. And some lemon. It's nice to have a little bit of brightness when you're making a cheesy, creamy, comforting pasta dish, just to awaken everything and not feel so heavy. So we're gonna zest 1 small lemon, and we'll do 1 tablespoon of the juice as well. That looks about right. Blend it up. Didn't sound good. Plug in your food processor. Blend it up. Give it a scrape so everything combines evenly. And that's it. Tofu ricotta in 5 minutes. Can't have pumpkin ricotta pasta without canned pumpkin. Actually, you can. You can have it with fresh pumpkin, but you'll have to make your own puree. It's kind of a extra step. So you want a cup of pumpkin puree. It's about 240 grams, freshly grated nutmeg. This adds that like really special warm flavor that, I don't know, it just brings pumpkin alive. Then about a 1/2 teaspoon, but I'm gonna eyeball it today. And finally, some vegan Parmesan cheese. We're gonna use a 1/2 cup of that. And this is where the folding happens.
What does that mean? What does fold in the cheese mean?
Here's what you do. You just fold it in.
Take your spatula and then just kind of like lift up underneath the ingredients and fold it like so.
If you say fold in one more time.
It says fold it in!
Let's give it a taste. This is where you can adjust to taste. I want a little more nutmeg and a little more salt, maybe some more pepper too, why not? And a little more lemon juice just to make it pop. We're ready to go. I'm gonna stick this in the fridge while I make everything else just so it doesn't get too warm. So I've got some water on the stove heating up for the pasta shells. Something I should have mentioned I forgot is that this is kind of an old recipe. I first developed it in 2018 in the kind of infancy baby days of my career. And it's a good recipe. People really like it, but a lot has changed in the last 5 years. My approach to cooking has changed, my taste buds and understanding of flavor have changed. So today I'm gonna try to make a few adjustments to the recipe to make it even more deluxe, even more gourmet, so that you can really slay up. So you can slay at the holidays. Anyways, the first change we're making is with our bechamel sauce. Classic bechamel is equal parts flour and butter, and then you whisk in milk. My original recipe calls for light coconut milk as the milk source. I know some of you don't like using coconut milk, so today we are using full fat oat milk instead. And we're gonna use 2 cups, which is a little bit more than the original recipe. So we're gonna have a little extra sauce, which is never a bad thing. But we're not gonna use just plain milk. We're gonna upgrade it. We're gonna infuse it with lots of delicious fall flavor. I've got some fresh sage and thyme. For the thyme, I'm gonna do, I'd say 3 or 4 large sprigs. I will just add 1 sprig of sage in there. We need salt and pepper, always. 1 bay leaf. And if you want, just a little extra freshly grated nutmeg. And we're just gonna infuse this very slowly on the stove, medium-low heat. Let it gradually come to a simmer. It's probably gonna take 10 or 15 minutes, and during that time, the milk is going to absorb all of those delicious flavors. Another upgrade I'm gonna try to make today to the recipe is to incorporate leeks, which are one of my favorite vegetables. They get a little bit sweet when you cook them. They kind of melt in your mouth and get buttery, and they go really, really well with pumpkin. So I think they're gonna work great here. And if you're intimidated by leeks, don't be. I'm gonna show you how to prep them, how to clean them. Take a large sharp knife and slice them pretty thinly. Whoa, leek down. Most recipes will tell you that the dark green tops are not edible. I find that as long as you cut off any wilted, really tough edges, you can still eat the dark greens if you slice them thinly and cook them this way. So I'm gonna do that to reduce food waste, and I think you should too. Unlike onions, leeks are very, very dirty. Literally, they're covered in dirt, so we need to cleanse them. I just covered the leeks with some cold water. Let them hang out for a couple minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to strain our infused milk. See, it looks nice and fall flavored. Lots of flavor bits at the bottom. Let's get that. It smells so good. Woo, that is delicious. It's like a savory latte. Oh, that is tasty. Back to our leeks. Just take your hands and kind of get in there with the leeks to loosen the dirt. What you don't want to do is to drain the leeks in a colander because all of the dirt from the leeks is settling at the bottom of the bowl. If you dump out the water, all of that dirt's gonna get trapped back into the leeks. So instead, you're gonna lift out the leeks like this, and that way the dirt stays at the bottom of the bowl. Towel these guys off. This is really like a spa day for the leeks. First they get their hair washed, now they get a massage. Not a bad day to be a leek. All right, I'm gonna let these dry off a little bit more. In the meantime, we're gonna chop our garlic. There was a hidden baby clove in there. You need about 6 garlic cloves and you can just chop them up, no need to mince them. Our pasta water is almost boiling, so let's grab our shells. These are jumbo pasta shells. We're gonna cook them and then stuff them with the pumpkin ricotta filling. If you can't find these, you can also try manicotti for a slightly different dish. So it's almost 12 ounces. I'm just gonna cook all of them in case we have enough filling for all of them. So I've got about 40 shells today. Season your pasta water generously with salt. Now we'll add in our shells. If you're gonna let the shells sit out for a little bit while you assemble everything else, you don't want them to dry out, so just hit them with a little bit of olive oil so they don't stick. And we are ready to make our bechamel sauce. We're gonna start our bechamel sauce off with some extra virgin olive oil, and we have this over medium heat. In go the leeks. Pinch of salt. The leeks need about 7 to 9 minutes to get really nice and soft and have some browning around the edges. Our leeks are looking good, and this is actually too much for our sauce, so I'm gonna scoop out about half. I'll show you how to use those later. All right, that should be good for now. Now to the rest of the leeks, we're gonna add in the chopped garlic. And since this is a really rich dish, I'm adding just a little bit of red pepper flakes. That's just gonna give you a little more of a complex bite. If you can't handle any heat, you can omit it, but it doesn't taste spicy, it just adds a little oomph. Time to add in our flour. This is 4 tablespoons. And it's gonna be a little tough at this point to like stir or whisk because there's not that much oil left in the pan. But just let it cook for a minute and stir almost constantly. Gradually pour in that infused milk. And you wanna whisk as you go so it doesn't get too clumpy. Once your milk mixture is incorporated, let this cook for 2 to 4 minutes and you'll notice the flour will start to thicken up the sauce. Give it a taste, see if it needs any salt or pepper. Since we're going for a super gourmet dish today, I'm gonna blend up the sauce so it has a smoother texture, but if you don't wanna get out your blender and you don't mind a more rustic dish, you can just leave the sauce as is. Let's get her blended. That looks nice. It's assembly time. Grab a 13 by 9 baking dish, 3-liter baking dish, and you're gonna pour like a thin layer of the sauce on the bottom. Now it is time to stuff our shells. The shells are a lot easier to fill if you've refrigerated the pumpkin ricotta filling. And you can definitely assemble this ahead of time. So you can do the pumpkin ricotta filling 3 days in advance, stored in the fridge. 1 day in advance, you can cook the shells and stuff them. And also 1 day ahead of time, you can make the bechamel sauce and store it separately. So on the day of serving, the day of your holiday dinner, all you need to do is put your sauce in the bottom of a pan, the shells on top, and bake it in the oven. So very quick, like less than 30 minutes. If you're the kind of person who keeps a pastry bag at home, this would probably be a great use for it. Just drizzle the bechamel sauce on top of the shells. Before these go in the oven, remember those leeks that we sauteed earlier? I'm just gonna sprinkle these across the shells. So you'll get a subtle leek flavor in the bechamel sauce itself. And then each bite will also have this really lovely fall leek flavor, which I think is gonna be amazing here. I'm gonna pop these in the oven at 350 Fahrenheit for 22-ish minutes. You can use those 22 minutes to clean up, but I'm gonna use that time to show you how to really elevate this dish even more with some fried sage. Fried sage is like one of the most delicious things, and it goes so well with pumpkin pasta, and it's actually really easy to do. For the fried sage, you need about an inch or so of oil in a saucepan. You're looking for about 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 340 is fine, 360 is fine. If you don't have a thermometer, just add one sage leaf, and if it sizzles immediately, like quite a lot, your oil is ready. In they go. And they should really only need 20 to 40 seconds. Once the bubbles stop becoming super vigorous and loud, you can start scooping them out. Very important step though, you gotta hit them with a little bit of kosher salt while they're still warm, and they're gonna crisp up while they rest here. Looking nice. I'm gonna add some whole leaves directly on top so that my guests know that's fried sage. What I'm also gonna do is take a couple of leaves, and they're crispy, so I'm gonna crumble them so you get like a more even distribution of fried sage flavor. I can't wait to eat. Your family is gonna go crazy for this. No one will guess it's vegan. If you're looking for another hearty pasta recipe that will please both vegans and omnivores alike, check out my lentil bolognese right here. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!